Okay, so we're doing now the audit, the actual exercise. Now I want you to go and grab a notepad, a pen and paper, and write it down. When was the last time you've touched a handpiece? If anything goes off more than 1 year, then you have to be realistic and you are expecting a minimum of 2 months in the muscle program. If you are spending 3 to 4 days, 8 hours average every day on those, just cutting teeth. If you wrote down between 1 to 5 years, then you've got to be realistic and you might be there for about 3 to 5 months. On an average of, if you spend 3 to 4 days a week, about 8 hours each day. If you've written down more than 5 years since the last time you've touched a handpiece, then you have to be really, really realistic, and you're talking about 6 months up to 9 months. And that's again if you are spending 3 to 4 days, 8 hours each day cutting teeth. I want you to remember, if you want to shorten that time, then you need to be putting more hours into cutting teeth. It is plain simple. There is no secret about it. The more you cut teeth, the better you become, the more control over your hand. And that is why in the muscle level, we don't care about posture, we don't care about infection control, and we don't care about if you are actually doing what the criteria wants or not. We literally just want you to keep practicing. The more cutting and the more restoration you're doing, the better. Now when it comes to amalgam, it's exactly the same audit. If you've never done your amalgam, which is pretty much most of you, then you're pretty much going to require about, not really 6 to 9 months, because it's not like the cutting teeth. It doesn't require the muscle like the crown cutting, but you are looking into maybe about 2 to 4 months before you're really getting the hang of it. So that is the average, the 6 to 9 months. It can go less, it can be from 2 months up to 9 months. I'm not going to talk about those people who did it within 3 weeks, because they still did do practice, and I can tell you from now that those people, especially, you probably heard about the story of Dr. Josue, where he came to us and he didn't have a home setup, did the boot camp. At that time it was the 3 weeks, not even the online component of it. When we did later, he just literally just did the 3 week, 6 days a week. That time our boot camp was, because everything was in it, and pretty much went and did the exam. So we did the 3 week boot camp course and then did the exam, and he passed from his first attempt. But before you get too excited, let me just tell you something. Yes, he's amazing. It's an amazing, amazing story, but it's an exception. It's very, very rare to find people as determined as him. He was the first one to come really early on, catching the bus and the train and walking. That time we were away from a train, it was really hard to get in. He was doing his MBA because he had to, and he was living in an Airbnb apartment because he literally came from Brazil just before his exam. But he was in touch with his colleagues and he was gaining information, and he was already practicing OSCE. So when he came, he knew exactly what to do with his OSCEs, and literally was focusing more on mocks and only focused on technical. Within 1 week, he immediately picked up all the concepts, so he reached the clarity state within 1 week. And in the next 2 weeks, it was all about the professional level, where he was working on time management, stress management, mock simulation, and being consistent in his work. And he was still failing from time to time some tasks. But why is that? It's because he came from Brazil immediately ended the exam. So he had a very successful clinic, and he was already working on a lot of patients, and he was an aesthetic or a cosmetic dentist and doing a lot of crowns and a lot of veneers, a lot of implants. So he never left anything. He was just literally within those 3 weeks worked on plastic teeth instead of natural teeth. So that's where I want you to understand it really, really depends. And there is no joke here. It depends on how many hours. Now, again, I've seen people who spend these 15 hours a day, but you've got to also understand, because you're a human being, something has got to give. So if you're practicing and focusing on technical, you want to do your exam within 2 months or less, and you are at that muscle level, yes, you can push yourself to the limit and you can be crazy and you can practice. But like I said, you're a human being, you're gonna crack and something is gonna give. So you pass your technical, it might affect your OSCE. You pass your OSCE, it might affect your technical, or God forbid, it even might affect your infection control because you just got too stressed out and too pressured. So just take all that into consideration, do the skills audit and see. And hey, even if you're skilled and you want to take it normally, which we recommend, which is about 6 months, you can do it with ease. You can be still working part-time, not full-time, and you can still be with the kids and having a life and enjoying that work-life study balance. So there you go, and I'll see you in another video.